The seminar, as most of you know, is usually Sunday morning, which has always been a great event because I've been able to stand up here and share this stage with Arnold and the likes of Franco. We lost him just a couple of years ago, and a lot of the old-timer champs would come out, and it'd always be a great time with old stories and catching up. And the winners from the night before. Now, we don't have a Sunday to work with this year, so the organizers said, you know what, why don't we just move it to Friday night? Because the fans, they kept asking and asking, are you going to have the seminar this year? The answer kept, well, we don't have Sundays, so they made some arrangements, and we were able to get this together here tonight. I'm really happy we're able to do that. So we've got some great champs lined up for you here tonight. Folks, we're going to get right to it because we've got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm sure you guys want to hear some of these great old stories. So we're going to start things off with one of the early champs, the Arnold Classic, starting way back in '89 with Rich Gasperi. But the second-year champ was known as one of the greatest natural bodybuilders of all time. Please welcome Arnold Classic champ, Mike Ashley. All right, great to see Mike again. Wow, we're going to get you got a microphone there, Mike? Okay. Man, I got a whole bunch of questions for you. We haven't seen you in a long time, so. Give it up once again, Mike Ashley, ladies and gentlemen. One of the all-time greats. Speaking of all-time greats, look at this behemoth walking in. Now, he's not an old-timer, but he's one of the greatest, certainly. Give it up for Arnold Classic champ, Cedric McMillan.
Yeah!
Man, he didn't miss no meetings. All right, let me peer into the back. I believe we have a two-time Arnold Classic champ, and he is known simply as the Dominican Dominator. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor Martinez. And last but certainly not least, he's got an Arnold Classic to his title. He's also got 8 Olympia titles to his name. He is known by a whole bunch of nicknames. The Big Nasty. Yeah, buddy, give it up for Ronnie Coleman. Yeah, buddy. Let me tell you something. You gotta give credit where. Have you ever seen a 300-pound guy do that quick? That's impressive, son. He is a soldier. All right. Well, as you can see, folks, lots of ground to cover here. We got a whole bunch of decades covered here with Arnold Classic champs, and of course, we're going to reserve this seat for the man himself coming in just a little bit. Mike Ashley, I got to start with you, my brother. Mike, great to have you on that kind of stage again. We got to go all the way back to 1990.
That's right.
Now, we were just talking a little bit before we came out, Mike, and you had a great point you brought up. And that was, I don't think that people really know how much winning an Arnold Classic championship can change your life. Give us your experience, Mike.
Well, first I'd like to start out by thanking the fans, because without you people, there would be no Arnold Classic, there would be no bodybuilding show. So I want to give yourselves applaud for continuously supporting the sport, because without you, our career would be something different. Yes, I was very fortunate to be the second winner of the Arnold Classic, and one of the things I always said, as a matter of fact, I did a post today, and I said, whoever wins this event, it will change their lives forever. And the reason why I say that is, this is one of the most prestigious bodybuilding events in the world. You know, they have a lot of organizations around, but when it comes to the International Federation of Bodybuilders, it's like the most prestigious organization that you can compete in. And when you win an event like the Arnold Classic, the moment in their everyday life, it has become such a, if you want to say, household name. Because unfortunately, due to COVID-19 this year, we're not having the largest event in the world, because it's actually larger than the Olympic Games. And And we got to applaud Arnold for doing that for us because he's one of the pioneers of the sport. But when you win an event such as this, you get a name recognition that, number one, you get tons of guest appearances. Because if you say you win the Arnold Classic, a number of events, they're inviting you to participate. And you make a sizable, if the competitor does the right thing with the monies from this event, that will actually travel throughout their life. Because, you know, today, back when I won, it was nothing like today. They get a sizable prize of money, and if they invest it right and do manage it right, that can really make a difference in their life. But I mean, it's 31 years, and I still have people. Oh, that's Mike Ashley, won the Arnold Classic. Boom, boom, boom. In terms of just network about who you know, there's so many doors that have opened for me, even in business, just because of being a former winner of the Arnold Classic. So that's why when they say a person wins the Arnold Classic, yes, it's an event, and to the everyday bodybuilder, yeah man, it's one of the top shows I wanted. But the exponential potential that's associated with this title really can change lives. And I'm just proud to be one of the winners, but I'm also here to applaud the other athletes. I'm just here this weekend just to support the sport because I think this sport is such an amazing sport and it just continues to change lives.
So Michael, tell me, how did it change your life in particular? You were competing for a while and you did very well on the circuit. Very high placings, you competed on the Olympia stage, but when you won the Arnold, how did the mindset change around you? Were you taken more seriously? Were you kind of put up more on a pedestal, considered more of a challenger for the Olympia title? How did that change for you?
Well, I always talk about this aspect of me, not necessarily because I believe I don't care who you are, if you work hard and you excel in the sport, there's a credit to it. But I went around, I competed without ever using anabolic steroids, and I'm not here to say one way or the other, that was my choice. So to be a winner of the second most prestigious bodybuilding show in the world, and to have done it without use of anabolic steroids, which is extremely controversial back in my time, it has opened so many doors. So when you say when it changed, how did it change my life? I inspire other people. I own a health club in Florida right now, and you know, people come into the facility, and they're not necessarily coming to be bodybuilders or want to be bodybuilders. I remember one physician, he said to me, just to have had the discipline to win an event like that says something about you as a person, and as a result, I gained a lot of respect in my community for that, because any one of these guys, we're here celebrating victories, but most people don't truly understand what it takes, unless you have ever competed in a bodybuilding event, to really accomplish what these guys have done. Because the discipline level is, I mean, any sport or anything, whether it's academics or whatever, but if you excel at that level, there's a certain amount of discipline that goes with it. And so society looks at you different in other walks of life. So I have a mentality that, you know, since I can do this in bodybuilding, I can do it in whatever. I mean, I'm in my 60s, I went back to school, I'm in the business with fitness related, so I said, I want to get a bachelor's degree in exercise science. I just graduated in July. People were like, damn, you go back to school at this age. But there were some challenging times during semesters where I say to myself, you know something, I dieted for 5 months for bodybuilding contests. I should be this same kind of discipline I applied to school, I'm going to do fine. And it's a part of just believing in yourself, you know. You look at Ronnie Coleman, you look at Victor, you look at Cedric. These guys, they have a different mindset. This is the mindset to take myself beyond the norm. And so I am just truly, if you say how it has changed my life, that is some of the examples, and I can go on and on, but as a courtesy to others, I shut up.
All right, well, Michael, I can't let you off the hook that easy. I've been wanting to ask you this for years. After you won the title, you didn't defend the title the next year. Why?
So, there's pluses and minuses to some of the stuff we do in the sport. Well, I was in the military also at Fort Bragg, and I was on the powerlifting team, and I became passionate about powerlifting. Now, a lot of bodybuilders are doing powerlifting, but back in the 70s, you know, it was bodybuilding and it was powerlifting. Well, back then I did both. And right before the Arnold, my mentality was, I'm going to train heavy right up. I cycle up my training. I got hypertrophy, strength, and power. My strength cycle is doing powerlifting moves. And there's a lot of literature now that says you don't necessarily have to train that heavy going right up. I trained right up, and I blew my knee out 2 weeks before the Arnold Classic. And you know, any one of these guys, if you blow your knee out 2 weeks, do you think you stop there? No, you're gonna compete, right? So I competed, and after the Arnold, and that year was a very important year in my life, but after the Arnold, I went right in and I had knee surgery. And unfortunately, the knee surgery was not successful, and I had to have another knee surgery. And folks, I gotta tell you, that really took a big turn in my journey with bodybuilding. But I'm still very thankful for what I accomplished while I did it.
Give it up for Mike Ashley.